So very briefly about Inova, I know I can see a lot of familiar faces, but our mission is really to develop high quality training and educational programs to empower individual and organizations. But very much what we're very passionate about is to embrace diversity in all aspects, in gender, disability, race, age, religion, in order to support personal and professional development. And that's why we are doing the ELME project. So the ELME project that is sponsoring this webinar is funded by the European Commission. And we have partners in all these, you can see all the partners on that slide. And from Belgium, from France, what we are trying to do is helping migrants, migrapreneurs, international entrepreneurs like myself, coming originally from Mexico, to set up businesses and to grow businesses. And our best way of doing it, of course, is sharing stories of how people are doing it. So I cannot thank enough our speakers, because apart from being very busy running their businesses, I make them work extra, coming to share their stories and having fantastic presentations that you are going to all be able to see. The aim of the ELME project is really to provide tools and methods to assess entrepreneurial skills. So everything will be on the website. It's a pilot project, so people will be able to do assessments to see what kind of skills they need to develop further. Of course, the training is for both pre-startup and startup, very different when you are planning to set up a business than when you're running a business. So we have different modules for that. And that part 3, which is very important for us, is how can we network entrepreneurs all across Europe to do business, to get to know each other, to be empowered, and to be able to really have much more social capital. When I left Mexico, I realized that the important thing when I got here was to develop networks, because I lost everything I knew, my contacts. And I have to say that I think that is one of the most crucial skills in entrepreneurship, the networking and opening new tools to that. We know something about migrapreneurs. We were doing a lot of research about really famous migrants that are really famous businesses that are being run by migrants, and you can see on the slide a couple of businesses that you might heard of. Of course, the 3 of them are really well known, from different people from different parts that were not born in the UK. Now, why the European Commission is so passionate about developing and supporting migrants in Europe? One of the things that the European Commission have said is they want to bring Europe back to growth and create new jobs, and therefore we need more entrepreneurs. And we need new entrepreneurs as well with a different mindset that can be much more creative. And entrepreneurship has had a very important role in creating a much more inclusive society, and of course in the integration of migrants to host countries. Research has found that migrant entrepreneurship has become one of the driving forces of the growth of national economies, with a direct impact on employment creation and innovation, as OECD mentioned in 2014. There are more than 2 million self-employed people in the EU that were born outside of the country of current country of residence, and almost half of these entrepreneurs were born outside of the EU, which is incredible. And that is what we are trying to support more. Have a look at some statistics. 1 in 7 of all UK companies are founded by migrant entrepreneurs, and they represent more than 155 countries from across the world. The age of entrepreneurship is interesting because migrants tend to set up businesses much younger than UK nationals, for example, in the UK. And obviously that is when I was looking at research, is that when you're leaving your country and you come to a new country, it's hard for people to recognize your qualifications. And it is something that then hard to as well find jobs in your area when especially when you are a highly skilled migrant. So entrepreneurship becomes a very viable way of an income. And that's why we can see that the age range of migrants setting up businesses is much younger than UK nationals. So having said that, you will be able to get this presentation afterwards as well if you are very much interested in statistics, and also we'll be able to send you the website of the project so you can network with all other partners that we have in Europe. So as we speak, our colleagues in Europe are running similar migrapreneurs workshops or webinars, and therefore we will be able to connect all of you through the platform. So I would love to introduce now Adriana, our first guest speaker. She's the founder of Chalk Beauty, an award-winning beauty brand in 2020, and she will be able to share with us her story. And thank you very much, Adriana. I was very impressed about all the things that you have done, and I won't say much more. If not, I will spoil it all to all our participants. So I will stop sharing to allow you now to share with us your screen, please.
All right, thank you for that lovely presentation, and welcome everyone to today. I'm going to start sharing my screen. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, we have done this before. Okay, there we are. So, Chalk Beauty.
You just have to put Adriana in slideshow.
Yeah,
that's right.
That's
perfect.
Okay, so yes, I'm the founder of Chalk Beauty, which is a skincare tools brand. The company was created last year, about June, July last year, and we did a lot of market research and all the pre-work before launching finally in the UK this year. So we started to sell our products about March this year. So I want to share with you a little bit of our story, which are our products, what have we done so far, which are the company values in general, challenges of 2020 and what's up to come next year, and some Q&A at the end. So the story of Chalk Beauty was inspired on the Korean techniques of creating a skincare routine. Skincare nowadays is not just about using, let's say, a moisturizer or wash your face with soap and water. Nowadays is more specific about creating a whole story that is very targeted to a specific skin type or a medical condition like acne or psoriasis, different conditions. So the brand was inspired on a lot of the trends, the fashion and beauty trends. We started working with some of the makeup artists in London Fashion Week, and that's how we came out with the story. So we did, as a company, we did a very extensive market research previous to launching our brand. I'm a marketeer, so I believe in numbers and talking to people and getting all the feedback from the final consumer. So when we did all this research and started feeding media, we got a great coverage prior to launching, and then when we launched, we were invited by the BBC to participate in a reality show that is called The Customer is Always Right. So I would like to share with you just a little bit of the kind of like the snapshot of the show, because it's quite long, but this is kind of the summary of what our story is.
One of you has got to go up first today, and the person that I've chosen to go first is Adriana.
That's fine, guys.
Don't come back. I love you. I love you. She's going to be the naughty one.
The first entrepreneur to face our customers is Adriana Motta. Originally from Mexico, her high-flying job as a beauty brand manager brought her to sunny St Albans.
When I moved to the UK, I started having struggles with my skin. Obviously, the gorgeous weather here gave me some struggles. So I decided to create a personal skincare routine to get that kind of like flawless looking skin. When I came up with my skincare routine, I realized that I needed 3 or 4 skincare tools, and actually it's very expensive to have 4 skincare tools to do one routine.
And so Adriana's quest to develop a magic wand that could cleanse, tone and remove makeup began. She quit her job and joined forces with her younger brother Dave.
He had a little bit of background on understanding all the technical side of the electrical products, and obviously I had experience on the beauty and skincare. It was a lifetime dream, so we decided to become partners.
Together, they spent the best part of a year developing the Skin Perfector, a 3-in-1 tool, which she claims can penetrate deep into the skin, tone muscle and treat fine lines and wrinkles.
You have all the technologies, one tiny little device, and it's extremely effective. It's my baby, but also I'm so addicted to it because it's just a beauty.
And the equally beautiful Adriana is ready with a demo. Over the moon with the product, Adriana and her brother were ready to launch, but then the unthinkable happened.
Just after we decided to launch the brand, my brother tragically passed in an accident, so it was very tough for me to decide if I wanted to continue to launch the product. But then I decided to go for it in his memory, and also because it's my lifetime dream. It's super scary to be doing this on my own because a massive amount of responsibility. And yeah, sometimes I do panic, but the rewards, you know, it's just like worth it, every single tear.
Okay, so that's a little bit of our story. The show...
One of you...
Oh, sorry about that. The show was aired by the BBC on BBC One. We had about 3.1 million viewers in April, and was very interesting, you know, in the middle of COVID, to see the boost and the interest from our actual customers, just, you know, due the all the support that we got from this reality show. And some of the coverage that we got was like very vast. It was not just in the UK, but we started getting sales from Malaysia, Thailand. We were featured by Telemundo, which is a huge media network in the United States. It's part of the CBS corporate, the New York Times, Cosmopolitan, Forbes, and obviously these led to have like a very rapid growth for the brand. So the product that we presented, our strategy was very focused. We wanted to launch the brand based on a hero product that we could have a lot of, let's say, the story was like very tangible. So we decided to launch a product and then continue expanding our range. Today we have 8 products in our collection, and the story around the brand is about double cleansing, anti-aging, let's say the most important attributes that the customer is looking to fulfill when they're buying these type of products. So after launching in March, we have reached 6 figures our business is six figures now. We have 35 million brand impressions so far as a brand, and we received an award as an innovative beauty brand by the BBC. We also have a couple of awards. The Attractive Beauty Awards are very important for those that work in the beauty industry in London, because they target brands that are mainly focused to those makeup artists that work basically in the red carpet. So one of our very close collaborators is a makeup artist of Keira Knightley, Rihanna. We have the makeup artists that collaborate with Kim Kardashian and that type of people. So having these awards for our brand, it was like very special, very, very special. And at the moment, we have been shortlisted. 2 products have been shortlisted by the Beauty Awards, by ASOS. ASOS have like a massive database. They are one of the largest databases in the UK, customer databases in the UK. So we are very, very happy that this is happening. So what are important for us is all this social integration of the brand. We spent about a year before launching a brand. We spent a very good year talking to influencers, talking to media, sending them samples, getting reviews, getting feedback, building the whole story of our brand before going to market, which I do believe this has been one of the key points to get us where we are at the moment. And diversity and inclusion, what Marina was talking about, is a very important topic nowadays. We have people from all over the place, all countries, all over the world, moving to different countries. So we are in the UK, but we have completely different skin types. So let's say in our Instagram account, we can have like every single skin tone, every single nationality, and we need to adapt as brands, as companies. We need to adapt that to these more varied and more diverse market. As I mentioned before, we have 8 different products which are fully adapted to these different types of skin. And across our social media, we have around 20,000 followers. Most of our content contributors and influencers are based in the UK, but we have like a very wide variety of personalities. How do they want to communicate? Different niche. We have nowadays. In the past, skincare was very, very focused on women, and nowadays, I would say that half and half of our influencers are women and men, and this is a very exciting dynamic because it brings a lot of creativity and also brings a lot of integration between one another. As part of our social commitments as well, we do have some special projects that we work in the UK and overseas. In the UK, we have partnered with Breast Cancer UK, which is one of the largest organizations to fight against breast cancer. And we created this year in October, we created a special edition of our hero product, and during October and the first 2 weeks of November, we created this campaign and donated a percentage of our profits. Likewise, we work very hard with some of other organizations to recycle, reduce plastic in our packaging and the materials that we use in our products. And also we do care about the landfill contamination. So we are 100% sure that all the components that we're using in our products are eco-friendly. And where we are at the moment, so obviously we started in the UK, and we are selling through our website and Amazon in the UK, France, Germany, Italy, Netherlands, and Emirates. We also started distributing in the US and Mexico, and we're close to start selling in January in Australia. So one of the key strategies that we defined this year when the pandemic and lockdown started, one of the key elements was that in order to grow our brand, we needed to start diversifying. We couldn't just stay in the UK because we have the pressure of Brexit, and then we have the pressure of lockdown and COVID-19. So we started to spread our reach. We have presence in social media. We have relation with some of the newspapers and media channels overseas. So we're starting to spread the spider web. So we don't concentrate the risk in just one place. So what would be the challenges that we are facing now? With Brexit and COVID-19, international trading, especially for companies that we operate in the UK or that we have our headquarters in the UK, all the trading agreements and all the changes happening after Brexit are going to be a major challenge. And that's one of the most important reasons that if you're starting your business or you're thinking on starting your business, try to diversify your portfolio, not just in the UK but Europe, or for people that we're Mexican, for example. One of my go-to countries was to operate in Mexico. The second major challenge is dumping, which dumping is a macroeconomic effect that happens when a company is selling X products in a country, and then the manufacturer starts selling a similar product in that country at a lower price. And nowadays we see this effect in every single country, and every time more and more. And this is because I think it's something that is happening due to the importance of social media. If you go to Google and type, I want to be an entrepreneur, or how do I start my own company, you get thousands of videos from people saying, oh, sell on Amazon, open your store in Shopify, you don't need to invest anything, just go and get products from Alibaba, AliExpress, or here or there. And the reality is, we're getting a lot of people who are just drop shipping products in different countries, and their business model doesn't work. So, but still is a challenge, because for companies that we're established and we are building the brand equity of our company, it becomes like very, very disruptive. And the third challenge is the growth of this online presence and Amazon. Amazon nowadays is globally is about 47% of the total online sales. They pretty much have a monopoly, and obviously is becoming harder and harder to fight against, or to gain presence when they have controlled their own online world. So this is quite a huge challenge, which lead us, entrepreneurs, to be more creative, to work harder, to communicate with our customers, to understand what they want, what are they looking for, and why would they buy our products. So these are pretty much the three challenges that I highlighted, and I'll present you to the team. We're only 3 people. Me, my brother, as you saw in the video, and Ian, who is our operations director. He's in charge of importing, exporting, and doing all the customs and distribution. So yeah, we can go direct to the Q&A. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Adriana. I mean,
thank you.
I remember seeing your when we were having a conversation. So We have a couple of minutes for anyone that wants to ask a question to Adriana. You can add it in the chat. I have one question for you, Adriana. I think a lot
Yes.
of the things that we were talking about is about passion and driving your business, even though things might be very difficult. What will be the advice, or what would you say to other people that are finding it hard to right now because of COVID and other things? Of course, it's not only COVID, about growing their business or starting in business. What will be your one piece of advice that has helped you?
Yeah, passion is very important. Have the drive, but also to keep consistency. Because some days you just want to, just want to drop everything and say, you know what, this is very complicated, or the bills are piling, or I'm not selling, or there's always, every day as an entrepreneur, you're going to have struggles every day. So having that drive of saying, okay, my goal is not 3 days on the road. This is a long-term vision, because we are building our vision. So what is more important is to keep one step at a time, just go day by day, tick the boxes, the things you need to do. I always have my KPIs are written and posted. So I have my everyday posted saying, okay, I'm stressed out about these or that, or I have piles of things to do, but it's just one day at a time. We will not be able to conquer the world in 3 days. So it's a very long process, and keep always positive with that vision. That would be my piece of advice.
Thank you, Adriana. And I remember having a conversation with you about when you explained to me the loss of your brother and how difficult was it for you just to, because he was your partner in that vision. So you lost him, and how resilience really helped you throughout the journey. Thank you very much, Adriana. I'm sure you have inspired a lot of our participants, and we'll have opportunity towards the end of today to have much more questions to our panel members who will be able to stay a little bit more, like 10 minutes, to chat at the end after 12 o'clock with some of you, because I'm sure you might have some specific questions with regard to the sector they're working in. So I would love to introduce now to Araceli and Omar. When somebody from the Mexican community told me to contact Araceli, and I went to her website of Araceli and Omar, I thought, oh my God, this is something I have been looking for so long. And it was great to see how, in terms of supply and demand, suddenly because of our serendipity, you just meet somebody. And that's very much about what entrepreneurship is, right? Offering something to people, and that we think about is just a transaction, but it's much more than that, right? So I would love to introduce Araceli and Omar. Thank you very much for being with us here today. I know how busy you are with regard to your business, so thank you very much. So I'll hand over to you. You want to share your screen now?
Yes.
That will be great. Thank you.
Let me know when you see the screen.
Yes, we can now.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Well, thank you. Thank you to all the attendees. Thank you, Marina, for inviting us. As you mentioned, it was so part of the challenges or and opportunities you have as an entrepreneur is always making connections, and that's what helps a lot of time. So we are Sweet Nibble, and we would like to share our story. So with me is Araceli, which is the founder, and yeah, we will talk about our story and the challenges that we have. So let me see if I can move this. Yeah.
Hello, my name is Araceli, the founder of Sweet Nibble, and I was a primary school teacher in Mexico. And 3 years after I came, we decided to start Sweet Nibble. And yeah, we start with try to find something that the Mexican miss a lot. So we just thinking, and that's why we are here with Sweet Nibble. So yeah.
Yeah. So just for those of you who doesn't know what we are, so we are an online bakery. We specialize in Mexican cakes and pastries, and those are commonly known in Mexico as pan de dulce, and I think it's the same in other places in Latin America. So pan de dulce has its roots in Spanish and French bakery. So when we were, Mexico was conquered, and there was the Spanish and French were in Mexico, where there were a lot of bakeries, and that's how the many bakeries started in the country. And obviously, there were few changes and things that happened in Mexico where new flavors, incorporation of new styles were created, and especially with some traditions. So as Araceli mentioned, the part of the reasons when we came here, we knew we started looking for places where you can find Mexican food. So obviously, part of the things that you miss when you move from Mexico or countries like Mexico are obviously the weather, the family, of course, and the food. And we couldn't really see or find any place where they have the traditional pan de dulce that we used to find in Mexico. There are great restaurants. We know a lot about. One of the first places we went was Mestizo. Actually, you will hear about Mestizo today as well. But one of the reasons why we started to look around was just because we missed all those pan de dulce. So here are some examples of what we are producing now, but it's something that you can find in any Mexican bakery. So you have things like, so the most traditional one is the concha, which is this type of bun, which are also very similar to, we found out that it's very similar to something called melon, I think that's in Japan. So they have something called melon, which is quite good. We also have something called pan de muerto, which is, we normally, for those of you who know things about Dia de Muertos, is the bread that we normally have during that season. So you will find it now in many restaurants and places, but it's very traditional for that time of the year. And yeah, another thing, so obviously we are incorporating new things or just things that we miss from home, and yeah, so that's what pan de dulce is, and that's what we're doing. So a little bit about our story. So we will like to split probably the conversation in two things. One, before, so what happened when we created the business and the challenges we had, and also where are we going for the next, or what's the plan for the future, and our response to COVID. So everything started with small concha. So you can see here is concha 0.1. So that was the first attempt, and the reason why Araceli started, so she was always keen to get involved into kitchen. So because we were living here and I was working, I was always telling her how much I miss all this pan de dulce and obviously having at home. So she started trying and testing and doing a lot of iteration to make it happen. So she because she's not a chef by training, but it's about passion. So now that you mentioned and with the presentation from Adriana and what Marina mentioned about passion, so I think it's something that motivates her to what motivates you to do all of this, and that's how it started. So she was lucky enough to be invited or with group of friends, and people started to talk about how she was making bread and the products she was making. And so we decided to launch the Facebook page. And so that was the starting point. And I think just because my background is so I'm software engineer, so I had a bit of background on a lot of this type of Silicon Valley entrepreneurship, and I was at that time already thinking to do something. And I proposed to do something like a small iterations and see how the customer responds. So that's why we launched the Facebook page. And part of the initial feedback that we received was obviously we were receiving orders only by Facebook, trying to find new places in new websites or new groups in Facebook where all the community of Mexicans can find what Araceli was doing. And obviously, so that was part of the launch, so the Facebook page, that was in 2014, and also help from all the support of the Mexican community and events that she was invited to participate at the time. So again, at least for us, and the success of the business has been being in contact with people from the community. So so you can see here, so this was one day that Araceli was helping a group of children that came to Mexico to play basketball, and they were in a small community in Mexico, and obviously they needed funding and some support, so she contributed to that, and I think that's where we appreciate as a community. I think we try to help when someone asks to support the community, and obviously knowing other restaurants and people from the community. As I mentioned, she actually, so again, this photo was taken in Mestizo. So so yeah, it's a lot of support that we receive from them and from the community. And that's how so she decided to move and try new things, right? So then she started working on Rosca de Reyes and Pan de Muertos. So here's a Rosca de Reyes, which again is typical and very common for Dia de Reyes in Mexico, the 6th of January, which we celebrate, Rosca de Reyes, and it's very common. So it's like Epiphany celebrated in other places as well, in Spain and Italy. So the part of the reason to do that was also she was trying to just to respond to clients or customers. They wanted to try if she could make Rosca de Reyes, and slowly she became very famous in the community and in Facebook pages. So it was until 2016 where we decided to launch our web store. So part of the reasons, obviously, we as a new business, the challenges were we knew we can find maybe a place where we can put the like the store or a cafe, because that was also the intention. But obviously the expenses. So we live in London, and some of those places are very expensive. So the rent and paying for that. So again, having this approach of very iterative ways of doing things, and we just decided to let's go for a website. And we created and it was better for Araceli to manage the workload, because she didn't need to take the orders from Facebook anymore, so everything more organized. And we spent a lot of attempts, so we had 2 versions of that website, so it didn't work that well, but the last one was the one where we managed to get that running. And slowly integrating with things, so like distribution and getting more visibility. So at that time, it was still a small business. Well, it's still a small business, but it was operating just fully as a trial, and just things mainly during special events, for example, or during special occasions like Dia de Muertos, for example. So she was just producing mainly on those days, or like more. And obviously, when we decided to let's do this and get to the next level, at the time, so in order for you to bake and produce at home, you are required to have a permit to do it. So since she started, she already have that when we were living in South London. But then part of the requirements, if you want to start selling or producing and sending to other places, then you need to they will assess the health and the safety of or how you're producing things. And as we were growing and moving to producing in other in specialized kitchens or for events, for example, so you need to have an insurance, you need to have other things and other requirements. So I think during 2016 and 17, it was a lot of consolidation in terms of the health and the safety assessment process. and so that's why she got a 5E food hygiene rating that year. So we were very happy, because that means you can achieve a high level of ways of working, yeah, and just on your own, right? And then we decided, okay, let's expand, and rather than just doing things in London, we started working, and we already have people asking for deliveries elsewhere in the UK. So we expanded, and now we have full presence in the UK. We attempt, and we will talk about it, but one of the considerations that we have at the moment is expanding a bit more. So like in Ireland, and probably other parts in Europe. We had some orders, and we fulfilled some orders in the rest of the country. But as you can imagine, the breadth and the quality. So that's part of what Araceli has always been promoting. Like we use local products. We also use so like natural, and we try to be very without using a lot of products that will extend the duration of the product. So we try to keep it fresh. That's one of the key things, and obviously we are still doing some research on that, and working towards getting that so we can expand a bit more. But I think for now the UK market is what's working well for us. Primarily the Mexican community, that was the starting point, but yeah, Araceli became a bit more known in the local area. So here where we live in New Malden and Kingston, and expanding a bit more. So then, yeah, for the last 2 years, she has been collaborating with different restaurants, presence in local events. So she was invited, for example, to participate in the, what's the name? The
Dessert Festival.
The London Dessert Festival. So she was one of the, so she was invited to participate to the 2 days. So it was a busy day. So it's something that you also need to, I think people who work in food business know is very hard to, working in food, and the challenges, and also to maximize return is important to have good products and to have good quality, so you have that clients value your products. And finally, so just recently the partnership with an incorporation. So we decided now to formalize that with one of our partners. So I will talk about her quickly, and registering the brand, incorporating the business. So it's like making it more formal business, and it's like operating, and also, yeah, what you always dream to reach, which is having your company and make it happen, right? So it was a long journey, so 5, 6 years, but I think, yeah, the passion that Araceli has to make this, and the commitment that we have to make this work, I think that was what is keeping us in business. So yeah, so quickly, just in terms of challenges that we have during COVID. So I think part of that what we have, me at some point, just because I'm from book, so just reading and a lot of entrepreneurship courses, and Araceli just because she doesn't quit, so she works so very hard, and she doesn't stop when she has an idea, and she just wants to deliver. So with that combination, I think allows to go through this time. So the challenge that we had, so the first and most important thing was the health of us, the team, and people that collaborated with her. And so how will that affect the business? So that was critical. Customer concerns on the new government regulations. So we needed to explain what we were doing and how we were going to do it. And new health and safety procedures and ways of how we were required to operate, and people coming to collect things here or work in the kitchen. The panic buying hit us a bit during a few weeks, just because not even suppliers, so not just the supermarket, but everywhere. So some of the suppliers from the flour were well, they stopped us or not. They didn't have enough product that we needed for the inventory. So improving our ways of working, that we needed to be more effective on that. Logistical issues with local delivery centers, parcel deliveries, or taking longer times, and a lot of people like not receiving their products on time. So we need to change that as well. And high demand during the peak hours and on regular days. So that's when I think Sweetnibble started to see a demand. So for us, COVID, it wasn't necessarily bad. The business was already running online. So at that point, we didn't have to switch like many other companies. We were already running, but it was just the challenge on logistics. So opportunities, reinforcement of the customer trust and brand on the brand and loyalty. So that's key for us. So always keeping them always happy. And process improvement, as I mentioned, logistic production. So she has to find new ways of producing things and improving the other ways of working. And we decided to hire a full-time social media specialist for advertisement, expansion on new sales channels, so other ways of selling, and so like we sell for local community, London, UK, so it's a bit different depending on who are we targeting or selling. Collaboration with other companies, engagement with the local community, so we are still engaged with the local community. We work very close to the Mexican embassy, other networks. And production innovation, new marketing campaigns and branding. So yeah, so expanding a bit more, looking at our presence online and just the product as well. And so yes, just in terms of where are we now next, so we are partnering now with Karen. Karen Trejo is our partner, so she's again from Mexico City. She studied in different places in Mexico and in Europe, Barcelona, Germany. She has been working, and she's like a world leader or has been working in many kitchens and restaurants and especially bakeries in Mexico City. So like Maison Kaiser, and also in Chicago at the moment, where she's running another business. So part of the reason why we're doing this partnership is to improve. So Araceli is obviously working hard, and she's baking bread, and she's also making cakes, so a lot of cakes now, with support from the people from the kitchen. But yeah, so she decided that she needed to take the business to the next level. And I think part of what you see as an entrepreneur is always recognizing when you need to find more people to help you, and that's what we're doing now. So we are doing the partnership with her. And hopefully, yeah, she's bringing all this innovation, all this experience that she has, international, and producing new quality products, and making Sweetnibble continue and being successful as it has been for the last 5 years. So yeah, so that's our story. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. I found finally in Zoom where you can clap. So thank you very much. That was really inspirational. And oh my God, I'm really hungry now. Look at those photos. And I have to say, I had my first order from you guys this week. And both my son and myself, we were fighting for each one of them. They were absolutely delicious. So thank you very, very much for that. I'm aware about time, so we will just go for one question for you that was put in the chat. Somebody was asking, Leticia was asking, how did you deal with manufacturing on a big scale to cover distribution to the countries of the products that can be sold in short time? So what happens when suddenly you have a big demand? What do you put into place? Or what have you learned, like top tips you can share?
Yeah, well, so there's a lot of learning that we have had. Obviously, you start and you are not new to something, that you're trying something new for the first time. You normally you don't get the state-of-the-art processes or way of doing things. So for production and large scale, it was again. So we already have contact with Karen, and she introduced us to new ways of how baking and save time at the same time.
Okay, so it's more like innovation in manufacturing and
innovation manufacturing and saving time and cost, because we needed a larger amount. So like the mixers, for example, so you need to increase, you need to make a balance on, sometimes even if it is small production, you will need to increase your capacity. So like the ovens, the mixers, the type of flour that you use, and how do you store it, and when you store it, so if you keep it frozen or not. That saves time and helps a lot with shortening the times. The other thing was as well the simultaneously when you are doing when you're producing, so you need to think on the packaging as well. So everything is like, like when you're doing like Ford invented the supply chain. So we needed to follow some way of like doing things in parallel simultaneously and breaking the process. I think many businesses are doing that, but for us it was something new, and based on the experience from Karen, that helped us to introduce those processes very quickly. So yeah, I think the recommendation is get in contact with someone who knows how to do it for that business, and if not, innovate, find a way that works for you. And for us, everything is simultaneously, so we try to do everything in a pipeline. So
okay, brilliant. Thank you very much. I'll take some of the questions that were in the chat later after the presentations of our next speakers. We have in our agenda a quick coffee break of 10 minutes, and we'll be back to listen to much more inspirational stories. Can't wait to hear the next two speakers coming to share their journey with us. So we'll have a 10-minute break. So if we can all be back, it is almost 11 o'clock. If we can come back at like 11:09, just to be precise. Of course, we're in the UK, so 11:09. That will be great. That gives us 10 minutes, and I'll see you back very, very soon. Now we're all hungry. I think we'll have to have something. Can you send us conchas, please, to all of us while we have our coffee break? That will be great.
Absolutely, no problem.
Okay, see you in a bit then. Okay, welcome everyone. Carlos and Marisol, are you there?
Yes, we're here.
Okay, brilliant. Carlos and Marisol, I think we'll if you could be our next speakers, because I know you have to open the restaurant at 12, and Jamie has kindly agreed to that. So if you can go next, will that be okay?
Yes, of course.
Perfect. Okay, brilliant. So we cannot see you, and we cannot see you yet. So if you want to turn on your camera and just share, and you share your computer. Okay, well, you set everything ready. I would just like to introduce Marisol and Carlos from Mestizo. It was just great to get to know you face to face, because I went to your restaurant 5 years ago, I remember. I was invited by another Mexican friend, and she told me, you have to come to Mestizo to really try real authentic Mexican food. And after that, I felt really homesick when I went back to Mexico, because they're not here. So I hope that you can set up a branch here in South Yorkshire. I'm sure it will be welcomed by a lot of Mexicans that were here up in the north. It was just beautiful, not only the food, but also the decorations and the atmosphere, a real Mexican experience. So thank you very much for that. So over to you, Marisol and Carlos.
Okay, let me just share my screen. 1 second. Okay, so welcome everybody. Thank you for joining us. I think, are you looking at the screen?
No, not yet. I think you have to press, you select your screen and then you press share, the blue button.
Yeah.
Yes, now
Okay.
we can. Yes, now
Amazing.
we can.
Perfect. So this is just a few pictures. I think it's the best way to show what we do here in Mestizo, the community that we have here, and well, what's happened over the last 15 years. Okay, so just gonna start us just a slideshow, and we're gonna start talking. So this is Marisol, Carlos is my mother and son. So Mestizo is a family business. We we all work here, my father, my mother, and me, and my brother as well. And we've been here for 15 years. Obviously, I was much younger when it started, but I remember coming in here and helping people to, helping to paint and showing, and from the beginning, doing everything to get to what it is right now. So I wanted to start firstly how Mestizo, how we got to this point here in London. So my father has been working in restaurants for 50 years. He started off with nothing. He came from a very poor family, and he started working in a group of restaurants called Grupo Anderson. Some people may know it as Carlos and Charlie's, Senor Frogs. And he started this when he was very young, maybe 20 years old, in Acapulco. So he left home and he went for an adventure, and he didn't look back. So he started working very hard, and the owner or the director of the company saw him and saw the potential that he had, and started giving him more responsibilities until now he has his own restaurants. So he didn't have anything at the beginning, and his own passion and his own drive turned him into what it is right now. After a long time working for them, he decided to move to London, to give mostly me and my brother a better education. And that's when Mestizo was born. So we didn't have any idea of what it could become, or what it will become. And it became into something very beautiful. I remember that we had experience here in London before. Even after having a big experience in Mexico, we came to London, we opened a restaurant, and we had to close it. It was very difficult. The rent was very high. The people was different than in Mexico. The laws is different. Something that you have to learn and know is everything. You have to have somebody that knows the business, that knows the country, not just the business. So you can have a big company behind you. You can have all the experience that you want, but if it's difficult if you don't know the country. And we had that experience here. So opening a second restaurant after closing the first one was a bit difficult and a big challenge as well. And my mother was the mastermind of it all. We chose a location that was not busy.
Nobody believes in the location, because people tell us, it's not gonna work. But if you put like a passion and you make a continuity, and then challenge, every day is a challenge. So
the location wasn't the best, but it was something that we could afford to pay out of our own pocket if things didn't turn out well. So the rent is not very high, and we started working, and a lot of people have come and gone. We've had people working here that have gone into different things, into other businesses, into creating their own companies. Araceli was one of them. She was working here as a waitress, and now she has an amazing company. Katia Torres, she was working here as an administrator, and now she runs Mex Grocer, if you know the company. And like that is a lot more examples. And Mestizo started to become more of a community, like a platform for Mexicans here in the UK, not just in London, but in the whole UK. We have a lot of customers coming in from outside of London, from different parts of the UK, that when they visit London, they come to Mestizo and they say, I need to have it again. I need to try the food. I love what you do with the events. I love what you do with, we have a very big menu. And that really is what keeps us drives us forward and keeps us going, because it hasn't been easy. The first couple of years, it was very slow. It was 15 years ago. You have to think that Mexican culture was very rarely known 15 years ago. There was a lot of Indian food, a lot of curries, and the chilies, the spices, they knew it from that cuisine. Mexican cuisine was still seen as Tex-Mex, nachos, fajitas, burritos.
Yeah, nobody knows about the mole. Nobody knows about
the enchiladas,
chile relleno, michote.
Mm-hmm. And we could have gone for that market, but I think it just would have been one more to just go for tacos and nachos and fajitas. And at the beginning, people didn't understand it. We tried to adapt the palate
and educate the palate of the
British community, but some people wouldn't wouldn't want it. They were still closed. They came into the restaurant and said, if you don't have fajitas, I'm going, and they would go. And other people gave us the opportunity, and slowly but surely we started growing. People started knowing more. We had some famous people from Mexico. We had the football player Giovanni Dos Santos, Carlos Vela. We had different celebrities here in the UK as well. We had Sienna Miller come in, and countless more, Robert Pattinson. And all of these started helping. They started seeing that the Mexican culture is so beautiful, and it's so much more than just what they used to know. The beauty of the food, the taste, the culture, the color, the everything in Mexico, it's so amazing that we had to share it with the world.
Our
and
traditions, everything.
Mm-hmm. And people really started seeing that, and started seeing that Mestizo was more, not just a restaurant, but more of a community. There was, as you can see, we've held countless events in different important dates. 15th of September, we've had it for the last 5 years with the embassy, working closely with them. We did events in Bloomsbury Ballroom for 2,000 people. And the World Cup, we had a lot of people come in as well to watch the football matches, and Mexico playing the best, but still losing.
And in 2015, the government of Mexico and the Mexican ambassador gave us the Autry Award, which means the opening way to other Mexicans.
That's right, yeah. What Mestizo is, apart from being a restaurant and a community, is a pathway. I've had, every week I have emails of people that bring their products to the UK, trying to have a platform to offer them, or trying to have a gateway to so the customer can see them. And Mestizo has always been there. We've always tried to help as much as we can with everyone that comes and ask us for our help, or to collaborate in something. Right now we're doing events in a drive-through cinema, and it's been a quite a good challenge.
And also difficult year during the COVID-19.
Well, yes, during the COVID-19 has been very, very difficult. Obviously, the restaurants are probably one of the worst hit sectors, since it is a social thing, and that's what we had to not go to. But thankfully, a couple of years ago, 3 years ago, we decided to go into a market that we didn't know. We opened a grocery store next door to the restaurant. It was firstly thought of as an extension to the restaurant, but we opened a grocery store and we sell from everything, including cans, Mexican candies. We sell crisps, dried chilies, artesanies. That's the market there, and it's been quite a challenge. We are not we are not experts in the field. It is something completely new to us. Business that we didn't know what could happen, if it could go well or could go bad. We had a strong name behind it, which was Mestizo. We had a good team as well, but it has been a challenge. And now with the COVID-19, that challenge paid off, because it was the only source of income that we had for the company. It was something that still opened, and we started selling online as well. So the online sales grew quite well, and we are learning again from the beginning, and hopefully growing as well, carry on growing. I think the most important thing for businesses right now is to diversify in any way possible. In the restaurants, it's a bit more difficult. Obviously, we have the takeaways now, which before the COVID-19 was maybe 5% of our sales, and now it's almost 20%. So it's a big increase in takeaways, and it's something that we have to adapt to. And you have to also learn as you go. You start adapting, you start making the changes. And the good thing is I have a strong team that are supporting the passion that our family has. I think that's one of the most important things, to surround yourself with the right people, with people that also share that passion, and or believe in your dream, believe in what you're trying to do. Because it's impressive when you hear somebody, you see somebody with so much passion and so much drive for something, and that has actually done something about it, or has the opportunity to do it. You want to join them. You want to feel that passion. You want to feel that drive as well. And that's what we have here in Mestizo, and I think that's why we've managed to stay here for so long, because of all the people that have come, all the people that have joined us, all the people that have worked with us.
These are key people.
Yeah, it's key people that have stayed as well, and some have gone into their own things, but yeah, that's the most important, I think. And yeah,
this is true. You have to feel, if you have to believe in something. If you want to, you guys entrepreneurs, and you want to make become successful, you have to believe in what you're doing.
Yeah, I mean, I was 12 years old and I was giving flyers in the street, trying to make people to come in, and not because my parents made me. I wanted to. I felt like it was part of my business to do this, and now I'm here, every day, and the next step of trying to guide the business to the right direction, obviously with the help of my parents and the guidance of my father, which is has a lot of experience. But yeah, it's about not stopping. And sometimes you just want to say everything's going wrong. Maybe one time Friday evening, 150 people here, and the gas went off, and sometimes the fire engine, the fire alarms goes off, or a lot of things that you can't control. But that's not your fault. It's something that you have to try to take from it and learn, and make the best way possible, and believe in the process. Because you can think, oh, this is not good, or it's not starting very well. But slowly, if you're doing the right things, if you are ticking the right boxes, as Elena said, you will get there. You will get there, and you will see that what the difference that it makes. And before, we had 10 people working here in Mestizo. Now we have a group of 40. So slowly you start to grow, and you can see the people that have small businesses, that it happens when you least expect it. You start to make bigger and bigger and bigger, and yeah.
Also, we believe the sunshine for everyone. This is the most important, because there's too many restaurants, and we try, everyone get good things, so we try to keep all together, which is very important.
Yes, I mean, London especially, it's a city that you see one restaurant close every week, and then 3 open up again, and you see so many opportunities, but also so many failures. And it's something that, yes, it's very exciting. Yes, it's very you want to try to do the best, but you have to be very careful as well. An example, in the shop, a lot of people come in, and firstly they come and they use us as a platform. They use us as a way to start selling, to start seeing their product, how it works. And afterwards, they can open up their own little shop in a food stall, and then maybe go into a restaurant, or go online. And it's just, you have to start off with somewhere, and you have to trust the process. So anyway, thank you for listening.
Thank you very much.
I hope you enjoyed it, and you enjoyed the story here in Mestizo.
Gracias.
Beautiful.
Questions, yeah.
Wow, so impressive and beautiful images that you have. And just to sum up, sometimes when we see successful businesses like yours, we tend to forget all the struggles behind that. When we see people doing so well, you think, oh, I would love to do that. But behind that, there was the perseverance and the motivation, Marisol and Carlos, that you were talking about. It was not an easy journey, but it is that sense that is driving you to making a difference. And something that I love about that, like our other presentations, is this sense of community. So it's not only a business to say, okay, I am just offering authentic Mexican food, but I'm making sure more people know about Mexican food, and they are much more, of course, aware of the Mexican culture. Because I could see a lot of your photos, not only beautiful food, but the Day of the Dead, the mariachis, the food, the culture, and I think that was just amazing to see.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We try to make an impact as big as possible, but not just Mestizo, but as a Mexican community. We find that having the restaurant, having the market, we are the perfect place for Mexicans to come and to be part of a community. In the Olympics in 2012, sadly, Mexico didn't have a place where the athletes or the fans or anybody could go. And we wanted to provide something like that. And at the end, we had all the athletes here. We had the football player families here, and we had all the news reporters. During the pandemic as well, we gave free food for the NHS, for the police force, and we were doing it in the name of Mexico. We were saying...
Yeah, we gave away like 4,000 meals during the first lockdown because of the Mexico, not because of the, restaurant, but also for all of Mexicans, all the Mexicans.
Yeah.
Showing that we are with our British special services and that we are supporting them. Well, in any way, you know.
Yeah, we always, when we was the ashes for the, do you remember? We just give away food in the airport. When we gave some voucher for the people stuck in London, so they came to the restaurant. We always support in many different ways, so in every bit different ways.
And also, you mentioned the key word right now, and it's something to learn because of COVID, the importance of diversification, that also Araceli and Omar were talking about it, right? So when did you come up with this idea about diversifying? Was it because of COVID, or did you do that much earlier?
So we had the market from before. Obviously, with the COVID, we had to kind of, it was a big boom in sales. So we had to adapt to that. And we had to make sure that the restaurant itself didn't die out and people didn't forget about it. So we started packaging our food, the food that you can eat in the restaurant, into small packages that are frozen. And we started selling that in the shop. And it's going really well because it's much bigger quantities than if you order just takeaway. And it's something that you can at the end heat up whenever you want at home and enjoy it whenever you want as well. Now we're trying to find a way to send that abroad. So to all the UK, you can enjoy Mestizo's food. So that is something we're working on.
We make a different labels, like a Mestizo with you during the pandemic. You know, the little details and little things, and people feel more close. People feel like a homesick. So the idea of Mestizo is when the people come to the restaurant, feel like mi casa es tu casa.
Nice.
I feel like with my mom cook for me, or my granny, or this is the idea, because we are not fancy restaurant. We are more traditional restaurant, and we believe if we show to the Mexican or to the other people for all the world that Mexico means
warmth,
like different things, and warm, and you feel like, oh, I feel great, I feel good. I don't mix Mexico because I have my food, I have my traditions, colorful. We try this year, we put it like the Christmas tree and the decoration of the restaurant with the butterfly monarch.
Yeah, I can see it behind you. I can see the tree with the mariposa monarca. Yeah, the beautiful butterfly from Mexico. Yeah,
because it's a trip for all of us. It's a trip, and it's a journey. During the pandemic means a lot for us. And also the Christmas tree in the market is more like a lottery and more like a colorful, because the life is a lottery. So we try to means different things for the customers.
My mother's creative, very creative.
Yeah, but I can see things. I don't know if you're reading the chat, but a lot of great messages to you. There were people. Omar is saying, amazing story, very proud of you. That America has said that Mexico is always supporting the community, not only Mexican community, but wider community. Your story has really inspired a lot of people, and of course, I got to know the Mexican community. I know Carlos and Marisol have to open the restaurant at 12, so they won't be able to stay with us after 12 o'clock. So if any of you have any specific question that you would like to ask Carlos and Marisol, I would like to invite you now to ask it, because they probably have to leave at 12 o'clock to open the restaurant.
Yes, we're looking.
I think, does anybody have any specific question?
There's a question about coffee. Just to say, we are bringing our own coffee from Mexico, and it's going really well. People love it. They love that it's something different. They love the taste of it, if you have a good product. So definitely something that you can look into. And like a lot of people do, try to find a platform that you can start off with, small batches, and then slowly start growing. That's the best way to do, and you don't have to invest too much in anything. You just make your coffee and you can share it with the rest of the people.
Michelle is asking, what advice would you give to your younger selves about this business journey? If you would go back in time, what advice would you tell yourselves in the past? What would you say?
I think to believe a bit more in yourself. It has been, anyway, for me, or I don't know, for my mother, but it has been very difficult sometimes to, after a 14-hour shift, end of the week, you're tired, you had some problems with some tables or something, and you just want to say, that's it, I don't want to do this anymore. And you take a tequila and you say, okay.
Yeah, let's go. Keep going. Let's keep going.
Let's.
So the message: keep the tequila next to you, basically.
Yeah. Big smile, and because it's like we believe, and Roberto always tells us that it's like your own party. Mm-hmm. So you have to prepare everything to receive your guest.
Yeah.
So everything have to be that way.
Also, it's not just work. I think I made the transition between having just work to being something that I want to do, like not a hobby, but something that I feel happy to do. And you have to enjoy it. If you don't enjoy it, it's not gonna work. Once you start enjoying it, you start seeing things much more different. You start wanting to go into work. You start wanting to do all these events. You see the happiness in people, in their faces when they have their first bite of their meal. You see them having their drinks, enjoying, laughing with friends. You see the birthdays, the celebrations. We have couples that have met here, the first date, and they had their anniversary, the wedding here, and then our anniversary, and that's another their kid, and it's beautiful to see that, because people keep coming back, and that, for me, it fills me with joy and with happiness, because it's an amazing feeling.
And it's not timing. I mean, you invest a lot of time inside. We just every day we come to the restaurant 8 o'clock in the morning, 7:30 in the morning, and we are, most of the people, we are the only one. You start, and sometimes when we close, we're still here. But this is the idea, because if you want to prepare everything, have to be with a lot of time. And also I'm very workaholic.
But it's the passion that drives you. We only have two more minutes, and I think I'll take the last question. As Omar is asking, what is the best way to start importing a product to the UK in terms of logistics?
So when we started first, we weren't importing anything. We were buying from people that have already done that job for us. And slowly we started growing. We started getting more sales. And afterwards, what we did is contacted a company in Mexico that specializes in importing and exporting. And they did the process for us. So it's to be honest, it's a business that we don't know. It is obviously cheaper if we do it, but it's much more difficult. So sometimes you have to also know when to get help from other companies and to form like alliances to grow together. Now, this company that we got wasn't very big, but now both of us together are getting much bigger, and we've been there from the beginning for both. They've been there from our beginning, we've been there from their beginning, and we've both grown, and that's beautiful as well to see.
And also they can contact the Mexican Chambers of Commerce as well.
Sure.
Yeah, Mexican Chambers of Commerce.
Which is a good idea.
That's a really good...
Milen, one of the CEOs, Milen. Yeah. But they can contact.
Brilliant. And we will, everybody will get this presentation. I just want to remind, for those ones who arrive a little bit later on, that we are recording this event and we're going to be uploading this webinar into YouTube. So if you don't want to appear in their recording, please do not have your camera on. And we will be sending this presentation with all the information of all our speakers for you to afterwards contact them and ask any more questions that you might be reflecting after the webinar and you think, oh, I wish I had asked this. So thank you very much, Carlos and Marisol. We feel now we're part of the community. Just can't wait for COVID to be over, to be able to come down and have a lovely meal at your place.
Thank you. And
Thank you very
anyone
much.
is welcome to
Yes,
come
please.
as well.
I really recommend that you should really experience Mestizo. It's I
Muchas
have to
gracias.
say so authentic. I really feel like back at home. You just need to bring my Mexican family there to have the real party.
Yes.
But it was great. Thank you.
Please, if anybody watching this comes in, mention that you were in this Zoom meeting, and we'll give a token as well. Okay, for listening to us and for listening to all the rest of the speakers as well.
That is absolutely fantastic. Thank you very much.
Thank you very
Carlos
much for the invitation. Thank you.
Thank
Gracias.
you. So
Okay.
I would love to present now our next speaker. And why I'm just delighted to have Jamie here is because we were talking about how important it is to bring for international entrepreneurs to bring their culture into the new country, in this case, Mexicans in the UK. And we're talking about how they have been authentic, and the pan dulce, the conchas from Sweet Nibbles, and Adriana products being aware of the different kind of skin needs. The importance that we have about taking the UK culture into Mexico so that both worlds are much more inclusive and can find more about our values and our identity. So Jamie, over to you, please.
Thank you, Marina. That's absolutely fantastic introduction. I'm just going to share my screen. There we go. So it's been absolutely fantastic today to have an insight into the Mexican community in the UK. Really cool. And Carlos and Marisol, really can't wait to visit your restaurants as soon as I can. That sounds amazing, and the pictures were unbelievable. I also bring back Mexican coffee when I visit Mexico. I like to bring back Mexican coffee to the office, so we share that in common. So yeah, it's been a challenging year, right? But I think all of you in the audience have been innovating, you've been adapting, and a lot of you, especially the speakers that we've seen, have been building businesses. So congratulations, the year is nearly over. Keep going, we're nearly there. Marina, also, I really loved your statistic of 1 in 7 of all UK companies were founded by migrant entrepreneurs. And that is amazing. What a great statistic. And I think it's worth pointing out as well that, I mean, the UK government can be pretty stupid, but occasionally they do something good. And I don't know whether all of you realize, but they just brought back some legislation which allows international students who come and study in the UK to stay for up to 2 years after they complete their university degree to work in the UK, and you don't have to sponsor them. They're free to kind of stay and work if they come and study. So if you're an international business or you're a Mexico specific business and you could do with some Spanish speaking staff or some Mexican staff, and you want someone to help with your business who has that specific knowledge and is maybe from Mexico, then this is a really great opportunity for you to take advantage of that and for them to support your business. For us, you know, if you want interns, if you need students to help you with your business, it's a big part of what we do. So either in the UK or in Mexico City, if your business could do with support from students or recent graduates, then we don't charge you for that. That's something which is free. So I'm going to post a link in the chat afterwards where you can find out more about that. So I'm going to give you a quick introduction to who we are, what we do, and talk a bit about our response to COVID this year. And then happy to chat through any questions that we have time for. So we at Pagoda, we aim to improve the cultural fluency, the employability, and the digital competency of students and recent graduates. And we do this by organizing work experience, so internships, work placements, cultural immersion programs, language courses, and exchanges between students and recent graduates. And we do that in a number of places. I'm based in Manchester, but we have teams in China, including Taiwan, in Vietnam, and in Mexico City. So that's a rough idea of who we are and what we do. We're trying to achieve some big things. We're ambitious, and we like to think that our values are not just kind of fluffy sentiments that are there for our website. Our team created these values together, and we really try to embody them every day and measure our performance against these values. And we put all that on our website where you can kind of see how we're doing towards some of these goals and alongside some of these values. So our customers tend to be government bodies or universities. So specifically for our program in Mexico, which I think is maybe particularly interesting for you guys today, our 3 core customers for that program are University of Dundee, Cardiff University and King's College London, and they fund us to take groups of students from the UK. They could be British students, or they might be international students studying here in the UK, and we organise everything for them so that they can gain some work experience in Mexico City and experience Mexican culture, customs and values for a period of time, which is typically over the summer. So we organise everything for them. We pick them up on arrival. We have a local team there. We organise their accommodation in Roma or Condesa. We organise their internships in different companies. And the university partners that we work with are the ones who fund that. So that's kind of our business model and how it works. We're very keen on things like ethnic diversity, and we're really proud of the true diversity of the kind of students who take part in our programs, not just in terms of nationality, but the British students who we place. A lot of our programs are means tested, so they may be the first in their family to attend university, or they're targeted at minority ethnic groups, so that our opportunities that we run are truly inclusive. We're very big on kind of the future of work and what that means, as everything changes very quickly, especially because of COVID, and the future of what work looks like changes even more rapidly. And we believe that the future of work should mean better work, more meaningful work, jobs that have a real impact on society, on the wider world, and that fulfill people. You know, graduates should be doing relevant work, and we hope that by bringing them closer to the industry that they want to work in, they can find that route to more meaningful work in the sector that they want to work in. And some of the statistics here show you that we're in a pretty terrible situation at the moment in terms of people not really kind of believing in what they do. So we hope that we can remedy that. And the data is there from the likes of Universities UK, which prove that by doing this kind of program that we organise, students are more likely to gain more meaningful work, and especially in a targeted way, that students from a minority ethnic group or a lower income background have a particularly positive impact in doing a work placement or doing an overseas experience. That has a particularly positive, strong impact on not only their grades when they complete university, but also their future career options and their salaries. So part of what I just mentioned is about social mobility, which in the UK is a real problem. So inequality is growing, and we really think that doing something about social mobility, a lot of the most influential roles in the UK are disproportionately taken up by people who are privately educated, and we're trying to really remedy that by starting at the roots. So COVID, dealing with COVID, when this happened, and as I've just described, you might have got an idea, like all of our business involved people traveling from one place to another. So people would kind of either go very quiet and kind of hope that my business is still going, or they would say something very polite, like, you know, is everything going to be okay, Jamie, with your business? Or they would be a little bit more forthright and say, you guys must be really screwed. So yeah, it was a big event for us as a business, and we did lose a lot of revenue this year, and we had to adapt very quickly. So you could say that, you know, having an entrepreneurial mindset really helped in this instance. But if I'm honest, our business had kind of grown to the stage where we had a reasonable number of large customers, and we had 20 staff. So I kind of felt pressure that we had to adapt. We had to make a bad situation into something good. We had to keep our momentum going. So there was that pressure to kind of adapt and to do something. But we didn't want to just kind of bring stuff online. We wanted to really try and do something innovative and something a bit different, and use the crisis as an excuse to develop something new and exciting. But I'd like to think there was some kind of entrepreneurial mindset involved, and I wanted to give you a quick kind of bad analogy as to how I think a lot of you will identify with this if you're running your own businesses. But if you follow Simon Sinek or you've read his books, then you probably will have seen his recent video that I'm going to reference here. So he talked about an entrepreneurial mindset and two ways to see the world. And Marina kind of commented on you maybe being hungry after seeing all of those Mexican baked goods. I think if I leave this slide of a delicious bagel on there, you're all going to run off to the kitchen and make lunch early. So I will move on from this slide soon, I promise. But Simon Sinek said that he was doing a fun run somewhere in America with a friend, and they got to the end, and the sponsor had laid out this table full of free bagels, and they looked delicious. And he immediately said, "Oh, a free bagel, let's go get it." And his friend said, "Yeah, but look at the queue. You see the line? It's like massive. Like, no, I don't want to wait there." And he kind of said, "Well, but it's a free bagel. Look, it looks delicious. I'm going to get it. I don't care." So he basically was saying this is a bad way of kind of suggesting there's two ways to see the world. You can either see the thing that you want, and as a business owner, you kind of see the end goal and you relentlessly strive to get what that is, despite whatever obstacle comes along the way. Or you see the queue, you see the barrier, you see the obstacle, you focus on that, and you just kind of give up at a very early stage. So for us, that's part of how we kind of got through the COVID thing, was to kind of see what we wanted in the end and just get our heads down and work towards it. So we're just kind of pulling our heads back up again now after a very busy few months and starting to reflect on kind of what we've achieved. So I guess for us, I want to talk a bit about what we've developed in the face of COVID. And what we were kind of facing is that people would say, well, students are gaining greater employability and cultural fluency by doing an internship. That's what you guys do, right? You organize internships. The thing that you do is work experience. And an online version of that is just going to be worse. It's not going to be as good. So we had to really think, well, actually students gain greater employability and cultural fluency, not by specifically doing an internship. They gain that by being part of a community outside of their comfort zone, by understanding another culture, and by building genuine friendships and professional contacts in a different environment. So we thought, well, can we recreate those things? And the solution doesn't necessarily need to be the same thing as what we used to do before. It could be something different, which helps to achieve the same kind of outcomes. So we applied for an innovation grant. If any of you are growing businesses and you haven't heard of Innovate UK, fantastic government-funded opportunity to apply for any kind of innovative work that you're doing. And we were lucky enough to be selected for an innovation grant. So we worked together with another business here in Manchester who developed technology. And we have the app, which kind of forms the basis of our digital program. The reason why we worked with this particular company is because the app infrastructure is completely focused on community. So it's a really effective way for people to join a platform and to interact very effectively with other people within that platform, with a high level of privacy, with complete control over their data and what they disclose. So for us, it's like some of the functions of WhatsApp or Facebook, but in a very kind of structured, condensed way, which really looks after our users' privacy. So the community element of the app was really important for us. And the platform of having something which was on students' phones, we thought was not only what the audience want, but it sets us apart from our competition. Nobody else in our field is offering this kind of program that's centered around an app that's on somebody's phone. So we layered on top of that to try and really bring this level of cultural fluency to the students, the participants, a cultural mentor initiative. So on the app, not only can the students kind of interact as part of a group, but we can pair them one-to-one with other people. So what we did was we found students who were currently studying in either China, Vietnam, or Mexico. So we partnered with a couple of universities in Mexico City, and they basically introduced us to a cohort of their current students who are learning English or who had good English and really wanted to interact with students from the UK. And we paired them together and gave them a structured weekly cultural mentorship program. And that's the thing that got the best feedback of the whole digital program we've been running since June. It really has been popular in kind of pairing students together to share their experience. The other key thing is that a lot of these students were still completing an internship online with a business that we organize. And if you're working online, a lot of you will have seen that some of the kind of tacit things, like the non-spoken interaction, is really important, and it's really hard to gauge that sometimes when you're on the other side of a webcam. So for students, it was important that if they felt uncomfortable to really ask something to a colleague in the context of their internship, that they could ask their mentor once a week, like, this is happening in my company that I'm, working online for in Mexico City. What does this mean? And it gave them like a friendly, kind of safe way to ask those questions alongside their internship. And then the final thing that we created was an events schedule for all of the participants. So we've had hundreds of students come through this over the last few months and attending these events. And it's been a great way for us to engage with our alumni. We've been doing this for 13 years now. So we have a good number of alumni who are working in companies like Google. We had the head of digital marketing for Naked Wines speaking to our students the other week, and some really interesting topics, some really engaging events, and some networking opportunities online that really kind of brought the community together and got them really interacting with one another. So that's the other thing that we created. And it worked. The feedback's been really good. The other thing that we wanted to shout about is that another problem that COVID has thrown up is it's really impacted everybody's mental health, I think, in a negative way. So we saw that our programs in the past, when people travel to our different destinations, it tends to have a really positive impact on people's mindset and their feeling of well-being. And we wanted to know whether the online option did the same thing. So we asked the students, like, what was the impact of this program on your mental health? Did it make it worse? I mean, a placement can be stressful. Doing it online can be even more stressful. Did it have no impact? Did it stay the same? Or did it improve your mental health and feeling of well-being? 30% of the students said it stayed the same. And 70% said that it had either a positive or an extremely positive impact on their mental health. So that's something that we're really proud of as an outcome. And I think this hopefully gives you all kind of reasons to be optimistic. I think for me, it's firstly about not focusing on those barriers, or in the bad analogy of a bagel at the end of a run, not focusing on the queue. And you guys might be facing barriers like, technology. There are lots of you in the hospitality industry, and I take my hat off to you, how you've adapted. Safeguarding, we're looking at bringing what we're doing to a younger audience, trying to consider some of the other barriers out there. Lack of face-to-face or hands-on learning, there's all sorts of barriers out there, but there's definitely ways to get around it if you take a big step back, I think. And for us, the final thing I'd say is going forward, this is going to have a very positive impact on our business, even when people can travel again, because it makes it more inclusive. So for us, we always used to say, well, if people struggle with the idea of going somewhere so far away from home, let's do programs closer to home, or let's send people in a bigger group so they feel safer, or let's reduce the time frame of that program so it's less of a commitment. But actually, if we've got an option where people don't actually have to leave their home and they can still gain an insight into somewhere like Mexico, then for us, that's a stepping stone that's even closer to them and even more accessible. So hopefully it means that we can broaden our audience, we can bring more and more young people onto this kind of program. And yeah, like I said at the beginning, if I can help with anything, if you feel like you want to ask me more questions, I'm where we've only got 5 minutes here, add me on LinkedIn, send me a message, and let's see how we can support one another. If you could use the help of students or recent graduates, either in the UK or Mexico City, please get in touch, and we can try and help you out. But yeah, Marina, thank you very much for inviting me. That's it from me. I'm happy to ask any questions that have come through. I'm going to stop sharing and have a look at the chat.
Fantastic. Oh, Jamie, thank you very much for that lovely presentation. Every time I see you, are doing something new. Definitely innovation is a constant factor there. Jamie, there's a question in the chat that is asking you, how do you deal with competitors? What would you consider is the uniqueness of Pagoda? And was COVID something that helped you to have a broader reach as online?
Yes, it's a good question. I'm wary that my dad is in the audience from Sheffield here, so I hope it's not him trying to wind me up about competition. I think we have to try and always be positive in that sense. So we've always looked at competitors and gone, firstly, how can we differentiate ourselves?
Thank you very much, Jamie. I had a power cut, so I lost the chat, the previous conversation. But maybe you can help me. Is there any other questions that came for Jamie? yes, Michelle is asking you, Jamie, is there a future for human translation?
Yeah, I think so, because I think there is always context, right? It's very hard for a machine to understand context completely, you know. But I think that's a great example of the answer that I was just giving about focusing on the real value and not the machine element. There is definitely going to be value in human translation, but it's not how it is now. It's going to be focused right down on certain parts of that job and certain parts of that translation function. And it's about how your business can be the best at that part, which is the most valuable, which is the kind of the unspoken stuff, the context, and the real niche stuff. Like, you know, it's not just, you can't just say Mexico is Mexico, right? If you're translating between a British person and a Mexican person, you're going to need to consider, you know, what part of Mexico are they from? Like, what's their background? What slang are they using? There's so many different kind of little parts. So it's being specialist to understand the things that really matter and doing less of the kind of the volume stuff that a machine can probably do adequately enough, or focusing on things where, you know, a business has to be very, very precise in a certain translation because of the legal reason. Whereas if their website needs to be in Spanish, just generally they need to have some kind of Spanish language website, web material. They probably don't need that to be, you know, that can be 98% accurate, and a machine might be able to do that in the future, and that's fine. So, you know, I hope that's kind of a good example.
Absolutely. Before I ask you the next question, Jamie, we have just added the evaluation form to the chat room because this is a European funded program. We need, as part of the program, to complete evaluation. So if you could all be so kind to click on the link on the chat, a Google form will open, and it's a very, very simple evaluation form. So while you do that, Jamie, I have one question for you. That similar question that Michelle asked Marisol and Carlos. What advice would you give to your younger self?
I listened to their answer and I was like, that's so inspirational. And my answer would be so much more boring. And it would be learn accountancy and bookkeeping. because I hate it. I find it very boring. It distracts me from the thing that I really want to do, which is grow the business. But actually, I think you can grow a business far more effectively if you have a base understanding of all of your numbers at any given time. So I've kind of learned the hard way, and I kind of just wish I'd invested more time at the earlier stage to avoid a big headache several times along the journey. But yeah, I think that would be my
true.
boring.
I think it is that importance of the hard skills, you know, the accountancy, the finance, the business planning, with the soft skills about believing and motivation. I don't think we can say that an entrepreneur just needs one part of skills, are both, right? The hard skills and the.
But also, Marina, like somebody had a similar similar question on an event the other day, and they used the example of like watching the football player Lionel Messi when he was like 6 years old, like in a parking lot, like somewhere in Argentina. And like, what advice would you give to him? It's like, well, how could you possibly know what was going to happen in between, right? So you need to think like, you know, you can still be at the start of that journey, and you'll look back and go, oh my God. Like, but I don't think you would do something drastically different, right? You just take every step as it comes, and that's probably the approach that you'll continue to take, right?
Absolutely. And so I would like to invite, just to conclude the event, if Adriana, Araceli, Omar, if you are still there and you would like to turn on your cameras to see if anybody else for part of the audience have any questions for any of our speakers. You can turn on your microphone as well. And if you don't want to turn on your cameras or your microphone, you can ask the question via the chat. But any questions to our speakers before we conclude today?
Yes, here we are.
Thank you, Diana.
Sorry that I started answering the messages.
No, it's okay. I think there are a lot of messages on the chat. That is great that you can, of course, answer.
I have included the links, and because I already have some questions about shipping, and just in case you are interested on getting the Chalk Beauty products, I have included a code special for you guys. and an email address in case you want to get direct in contact with me.
Okay, brilliant. Yeah, you had a lot of comments about, you know, people wanting to know more about your businesses. So please do feel, thank you, Jamie, for adding your website. But for all of you, please don't forget to add your websites and your social media channels. Natalia, who is our entrepreneur, bringing Panela from Colombia, and as well Laura Crisps is saying thank you very much for the lovely session. Another very interesting speaker we had in our past webinars, Natalia and Daniela, that the first Loro, which I have here, just happen to have here, just arrived from Colombia, and this is great that also you promote. So Natalia and Daniela, please put on the website your Panela products, and on the chat as well, sorry, your Panela products and Laura Crisps for people to get to know you. Michelle is asking a question, Adriana. Did you study strategy, and what tips can you give us?
Yes, so it's a very competitive market across all categories. You know, we saw with Mestizo and food industry, beauty industry is very competitive. So my recommendation would be do a lot of market research, understand how the market is, how your customers or potential customers are thinking, why would they want to buy your products instead of buying others. And it's just talking to them, contact them in social media. We did a lot of research about a year before we launched the brand, and we had about 500 people answering questions and getting all the information that we needed, you know, to define why our hero product is purple and why it's not pink or why it's not green. You know, we did a lot of research. Then we started identifying the opportunity, if there was, which are the other brands, which was the right price to launch. And a lot of people ask us about the supply chain, you know, how's the whole process. Before you decide to launch a business or a product or brand, it's important to understand how is going to be the evolution from getting the supplier, getting the products into place, how are you going to market it, how are you going to sell it, and how are you going to distribute it or deliver it. So it's a lot of analysis behind the business before you open the doors, and that would be my right advice. I agree with Jamie, all the admin stuff, accountings, the legals, the importing, the taxes, and then with Brexit, that's why I included in my presentation, you know, for those who we import and export, Brexit is going to be a major challenge, just because laws and agreements are going to change. And actually, our lovely Prime Minister decided to include new taxes for people that we sell online. So a lot of things are updating every day. So if you have a very robust background of analyzing your business, it would be easier to adapt to those everyday challenges that we face when we're running a business in an entrepreneurial way.
Thank you very much, Adriana. So just wanted to share with you the common events that we are having, in case you are interested, before the end of the year. If you know somebody that was not born in the UK and studied science, technology, engineering, arts, or maths, if you can let them know that we are trying to find more about what are the challenges they're facing, so we can develop a training program for them. We have for people that are thinking about starting a business, a taste of entrepreneurship. If for some of you that want to develop more coaching and mentoring skills with regard to entrepreneurship, or even your staff in your current business, these are all free workshops because they're funded by the European Commission. The last one we want to invite you is the 18th of December. We're having team building activities. So please do come along if you want to have more ideas about how to use tools online to build teams, and especially because we have a lot of our employees spread across the UK or in different countries, it might be really interesting for you. So a big thank you from Michelle and from my aunt and Babette for all of you to be for all you being here, our entrepreneurs. I cannot thank you enough for your time, because I know it is time away from your business, and for sharing your journeys. What I will make sure is that every single participant gets your contact details and that follow you on social media and can find more about it, because I can see some people in the chat we did not address their questions. Jamie, there was somebody asking you about Vietnam, so we'll make sure that we get those questions to all our speakers and that we can keep on networking. Very important what Jamie was saying. Please find us in LinkedIn, network, increase your networks, because it's all about the mentoring and the support that really can make a big difference. Thank you very much. And I'm very hungry. I'm not sure if you are, but I am absolutely starving after seeing all your presentations. And a goodbye from our end. Thank you very much for completing the evaluation form. And Michelle is just saying yes, join our event. She's starving as well. Livia, thank you very much as well. Susek, it's so nice to see you all. Gabriela, Isar, and all our other participants that are with us today. Have a lovely weekend. And just want to finish with what Steve Jobs said. Remember in his last speech, he was saying that his life made more sense not looking forward, but looking backwards and connecting the dots. Everything when we look backwards, it starts making sense, that hardship, that moment of uncertainty was just perfect for the next step. So have a lovely weekend, and thank you very much for joining us. Bye-bye then.
Thank you. Bye.
See you later.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.